By the beginning of 79 AD, cities located in Campania flourished. The Gulf of Naples at that time was the favorite resort destination of the Roman nobility. Patricians, wealthy plebeians, and even some Roman emperors had luxurious villas here. The city of Pompeii turned into the center of culture and entertainment. Bored wealthy Romans went to Pompeii looking for any entertainment or pleasures money could buy in ancient Rome. And Pompeii was able to satisfy even the most demanding requests. The city had two theaters, an arena for gladiatorial games, the first of a kind in the entire empire, two gymnasia for physical exercises, and countless thermopolia and lupanaria. The shelves of Pompeian markets were full of exquisite food and wine, spices, luxury items, rare fabrics, and attractive slaves. The idea of settling at the foot of an active volcano might seem insane, but in the 1st century, Vesuvius had not erupted for more than 1,000 years, and nobody expected troubles from it. Everyone thought it was just a mountain, and the land there was incredibly fertile and picturesque. Rich in minerals, volcanic soil produced heavy crops. Even now, water from hundreds of local springs and rivers is considered the best in Italy. Grain, vegetables and fruits grew here in abundance. And fish and seafood swarmed the Gulf of Naples. The slopes of Vesuvius were covered with vineyards, and the wine made here, named Blood of the Vesuvius, was famous all over the empire. Who could have imagined that all of this would be buried under a thick layer of volcanic ashes and dust by the end of the year? The prosperous cities of Pompeii, Herculaneum, Stabiae and Oplontis were utterly destroyed. The reason for this was the eruption of Vesuvius in the year 79 AD. Even 2000 years after this, it remains one of human history's most significant natural disasters. In 62 AD, 70 years before the eruption, a powerful earthquake shattered the area. Stronger! Stronger! The exact magnitude is unknown, but Pompeii was significantly damaged. Many roofs collapsed, walls sagged, and columns and statues fell. It was one of the symptoms of the future eruption, but Romans of course couldn't know this. Earthquakes were pretty common in this area after all. Luckily, a first-hand account of the eruption survived in the form of two letters from Roman writer Pliny the Younger to a historian, Publius Cornelius Tacitus. At that time, Pliny was just 17 years old and lived with his mother and uncle, Pliny the Elder, in Misenum, 18 miles away from Vesuvius. Here, a dormant volcano crater formed a convenient bay, and the Romans established a naval base in it. His uncle, Pliny the Elder, served as a praefectus of a navy squadron stationed here. Until recently, most scholars believed the eruption happened on the 24th or 25th of August 79 AD. Pliny himself provides this date in his letters. However, the recent archaeological findings support a later date theory and shift it to October or even November. During excavations, they found petrified pomegranates. This fruit ripes in late September. The traces of clothes worn by victims of the eruption suggest that they were wearing warm clothes, which is unusual for the end of August. Finally, on one of the walls, archaeologists found an inscription saying that it was made 16 days before the November calends, on the 17th of October that is. Around noon, a strange dark grey cloud rose above Vesuvius. It rose like a column and extended close to the top, resembling a stone pine tree. According to Pliny, they saw flames and flashes of lightning striking out of this cloud and heard thunder rolls. Pliny the Younger's mother was the first one to notice this cloud. Pliny the Elder was also a prominent scientist and decided to come closer to study the phenomenon. He offered Pliny the Younger to go with him, but he declined. While Pliny was waiting for his ship, he received a letter from Rectina, his friend's wife. She had a villa at the foot of Vesuvius near Herculaneum. She begged Pliny to send a ship and help her leave. Pliny then ordered all the vessels of his squadron to prepare to sail. He wanted to help not only Rectina, but all people of Herculaneum to leave the endangered area. The ships left the harbor and moved towards the city. Pliny sailed the flagship. He observed the eruption and dictated his observations to his secretary. Unfortunately, these precious records were lost. Unfortunately, the squadron could not approach Herculaneum and let the refugees board the ships. Volcanic pumice and ashes and hot rain showered the ships. Volcanic matter changed the coastline. Shallow spots appeared at an unpredicted location. Besides this, the sea was restless, and the northeast wind was pushing the ships away from Herculaneum. Seeing this, Pliny said, "Fortune favors the bold," and ordered to sail to Stabiae, where his friend Pompeian lived. Pompeian was agitated by the disaster, but cordially welcomed Pliny and his officers. They spent the evening feasting, drinking wine, and then went to bed. Pinelike Cloud was a convection column consisting of ashes, stones, pumice, steam and poisonous gases. It rose to the height of around 18 miles, and the northeast wind was driving it to the direction of Pompeii. Very soon, this cloud entirely covered the sky, and complete darkness fell on the doomed city. Pumice and ashes were falling from the sky, but it wasn't an immediate threat to the people yet, as the pieces of pumice were small, just a few inches in size. From the very beginning of the eruption, earthquakes started to hit the area, getting stronger and stronger each time. Over the first day of the eruption, the layer of pumice and ash grew by 6 inches an hour. In several hours, roofs started to collapse under this weight. In the evening, lava flows began to descend from Vesuvius. Still, they did not reach cities, and only set on fire vineyards and trees on the volcano slopes. In complete darkness, the glow of fires was the only light source. Around midnight, the first phase of the eruption, during which the Pinelike Cloud formed, came to an end. This phase is also called Plinian. The force of the eruption decreased. As a result, hot gases, ashes and pumice from Vesuvius crater didn't have enough speed to come high in the air. They started to roll down the slopes of the volcano. A pyroclastic phase of the eruption began. A pyroclastic flow is a cloud of hot and poisonous volcanic gases, steam, rocks, pumice, and debris. Such flows went down the slopes of the volcano. Gas temperature in a flow could reach 900 degrees Celsius or 1600 degrees Fahrenheit. Their speed reached 100 miles per hour, destroying everything on their way. Anyone hit by such a flow would die instantaneously. Over a few hours, 7 such flows went out of Vesuvius. By this time, many people had already left the area. People from Pompeii and Oplontis fled southwards to Stabiae, Salernum and Sorrentum. From Herculaneum, people ran northwards to Naples, Misenum and Cumae. But unfortunately, not everyone managed to leave the area. Among those who were left behind were many elderly and disabled people, pregnant women and children. But also, some thought the eruption was not a big deal and everything would be fine. Many slaves were left by their masters to look after their homes. The population of Pompeii was around 11,000 before the eruption. When pyroclastic phase of the eruption started, about 2,000–3,000 people remained in the city. In Herculaneum, only a few hundred people were left at that moment. They gathered in the dock buildings to find cover from fallen pumice and stones. All of them died immediately when the first pyroclastic flow hit Herculaneum. The second pyroclastic flow did not hit any city, but the third one descended directly to Pompeii. But the wall around Pompeii saved the city. The flow of red-hot gases and debris hit the city, but the fortress walls, the same walls that stopped even invincible Hannibal, saved the city. The flow, after hitting the wall, partially stopped and partially went around the walls. But anyway, it was a severe blow to the city. Many of those who remained there started to run away, but it was already too late. Their bodies would later be found along the road to Stabii. In 1 hour, the fourth pyroclastic flow went down from the volcano. The debris left by the previous flow served like a ramp. The flow passed the wall and covered the city. At the exact moment when the first flow killed inhabitants of Herculaneum, Pompeian, worried by the eruption, ordered to wake Pliny up. By that time, ashes and pumice almost entirely covered Pompeian's villa. Its level reached the roof in some places. Earthquakes were shattering the area, and the walls were shaking. Pliny and Pompeian discussed what was safer, to stay or to try to reach the ships and sail to safety. They decided to leave. Before going, they tied cushions to their heads to protect themselves from falling pumice and stones. It was dark like at night, and the glowing of distant fires was the only light source. Pliny and Pompeian with their companions went to the harbor. Still, the weather conditions didn't allow the ships to sail in the open sea. There was a storm, and a strong wind blew from the sea. They decided to wait for better conditions. Pliny laid down on the sand to have some rest. At this moment, a pyroclastic flow reached them. It was the same flow that had killed people of Pompeii a few minutes before this. But it lost most of its momentum and cooled down. Essentially, it was a cloud of fast-moving hot air, ashes and dust. Pliny's companions ran away when they smelled sulfur in the air. Pliny was left behind. He was old and overweight and could not run as fast as the others. His body was found in a couple of days, when the sunlight finally broke through the clouds of ashes and dust. Most likely, he died of suffocation after inhaling poisonous volcanic gases. Interestingly, many Romans didn't perceive the catastrophe as a natural disaster, but rather as a supernatural phenomenon. Many thought a new gigantomachy happened, a battle between gods and titans. According to Roman historian Cassius Dio, just before the eruption, many groups of unusually tall men were seen coming in the direction of Vesuvius. Sounds of battle horns and clangs of swords were heard from the volcanic cloud, and fires and thunder coming from the cloud were actually thunderbolts thrown by Jupiter himself. This is how the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD ended. It took the lives of around 12,000 people. The cities of Pompeii, Herculaneum, Stabii and Oplontis were buried under layers of volcanic ash. The layer of ash above Pompeii was around 10 feet. In some places, the roofs of the highest temples could still be seen. The layer above Herculaneum and Oplontis was much thicker, around 40 feet. A flourishing valley, full of gardens, fields and luxurious villas, turned into a lifeless wasteland. But very soon, in just a few years, life returned to the region and new settlements started to grow.